What is up, guys? North Digital Assets coming at you with another video. Bitcoin with a little bit of price action today. We're going to cover Bitcoin and then we're going to talk about some altcoins here at the end of the video. A little bit of price action for Bitcoin. Haven't seen much price action in a while. I'm going to cover where I think Bitcoin is going. I think we're in a pretty good place. I think this is going to be one of the better videos I've ever recorded, so stick around. So let's dive right into the Bitcoin chart. So basically what we're seeing here, I think what we want to see, best case scenario, is sort of a five-wave movement, okay? So possibly the bottom in here on November 21st, 2022. Come up with a wave one, come down a wave two, come up a wave three, down a four, and a five, okay? You can see the point here of most resistance, this red line from the VRVP here. $19,100 is where there's a lot of resistance. The resistance doesn't really start to crank up until about 18,600 anyways. We just hit 18,300 and about $50 in the last hour. But what I will say is this massive peak here, this red line, and then this peak here, and then you can see all this price action here. This basically in here is this window of most resistance in here, okay? So you might not necessarily get the five waves to come out of there, but what we're hoping for is a five-wave movement up out of here, and then sort of a correction back down. And when we get that correction back down, wherever we stop, say it's on this shelf here, see this shelf here, even if it's all the way back at 16.5, this shelf here, that's when people might say, see, now we're going to 12K because we're coming back down, okay? The good thing here would be is you'd have a low and then a higher low. So that's what we're looking for to start to get us to reverse. The idea here is that we've talked about macro indicators, CBBI at 6. It was just at 3 the other day. That's using 12 big indicators in the crypto market. We were at 2 on November 22nd, possibly around the bottom. In the past, when we've seen these 3s and these 2s, sometimes it kind of meanders up and then kind of comes back down, but at some point that's when you're in. Your bottom is in. Okay, so we're kind of waiting to see between the CBBI, the Newpol, the Pi cycle bottom indicator, the MVRV Z-score down in that blue range, all these macro indicators, and also 70% of Bitcoin back in long-term holders' hands at this point in time, and they usually, the long-term holder is 70% of Bitcoin in existence in long-term holders' hands. As the Bitcoin price goes up over the coming months and years, those long-term holders sell into that movement up, okay? But what I'm saying is that 70% have it now, and that's a pretty high number. So typically that can be also an indication of the bottom. But what we're waiting to see is you come up into this range, which is that 19,100 up to that 20,200. You kind of correct back down. You create a new higher low. So you have your low, and then you have a higher low, and then you start to move up and create higher lows from there on out. Getting past this last peak here would be huge at 21,500 right here, because you can see here the resistance really starts to fade off in this range, especially if we start to zoom out. But that is where we broke down. That was our last local high before we broke down. And if that were to happen, at the same time that could possibly happen, what we're really looking for on the weekly for Bitcoin is the EMAs to turn bullish. Obviously, we want the green to start to kind of scoop back up and flatten out, and that would be an ultimate signal here on the bull market returning, is green coming over the red, just like we would have seen here. The weekly golden cross, just like the weekly bear cross, is a really bad sign. I thought it would flatten out. I thought it was going to be a fake out, and there was one more pump, because I still don't think this was wave 5. This is too small, and this is too small to be wave 4. I still don't think this is wave 5, so I'm still looking at this as wave 4, and you can see that on my main drawing here. And again, our 15.5 here, lows lately, 15.5, still above 13.9 here, so it still leaves a wave 5 in play of 100,000, 130,000 into 2023 because that was never broken. If this wave 1 is broken, that's going to throw this wave 5 coming anytime soon out the window, but until then it's still on the table, and we have a lot of macro indicators showing that the bottom is about there. We've also finally gotten if we take a look at the weekly momentum on the stock RSI, this is important, is really getting a nice lead out here. The blue really outpacing the pink line, really getting some upward momentum. We'll see what happens with that. If we look at the monthly momentum, we're really waiting for that to flip because it's been around 0 for a long time, and usually that's a bottom. The last time it was at a 0 and shot up out of here, started to shoot out of here around February 1st, 2019 right here, and now we're here, and we're really trying to get the blue, and we're really trying to get that upward momentum there. Meanwhile, the DXY is doing the exact opposite. Look, on the monthly, it's really heading down and really leading down, down, down after being overheated for a while. 103.9. 103.9. It's finally starting to do what we were talking about that whole time, what we wanted it to do, what we wanted it to do with that dead cat bounce scenario here, where this line here is going to act as resistance if it tries to come back up. You have the EMAs, which will act as resistance. Any pump over it should hit this line, but still a lot of momentum down with the monthly pointing down like that. That's going to be hundreds of days possibly of a correction for the DXY, and the DXY and Bitcoin move inversely. The weekly flattening out. It might get a little bit of a bounce to the upside, but we should see an overall downtrend, I do believe, and that's what we're waiting for a long time. We thought in the past, guys, we really thought personally that, you know, I said in old videos, I was concerned about all these calls of Bitcoin to 100K in December 2021, 98K, 100K, 130K, all those calls. I have some old videos I'm talking about that's concerning that everyone was believing that. But what I thought is I thought we were going to come down, and I thought at worst, we were going to find support in that 30,000 range, 35,000, 40,000 range, and then get that wave 5. Never happened. We corrected even deeper, and then after we corrected even deeper, we have FTX and all these other crazy scams and fallouts and fear, okay? So, but what we're hoping now is that selling pressure, that everyone who wanted to sell has pretty much sold, and that selling pressure is gone for the most part, and we want to create those higher lows, okay? So what we're definitely looking for is some sort of movement, whether it's corrective or not, just some sort of movement into this range. If we can get a big wave 3 here up to this red line, and then a 4-5 into that range, correct back down, okay, and create a higher low, and then start to move up there, get past this, that would be extremely bullish. We just need to wait and see how impulsive this move currently is going to be or not. We're at 17,900 right now. We need to see where this movement's going. Is it going to sputter out now and it's a corrective movement, then correction? We need to hold this, though. We need to hold a higher low. We can't be falling below 15.5. That would be very bearish, okay? This 15.5 creating a new local low, that would be very bad. But right now, we're seeing some nice movements of movement up, accumulation, movement up, kind of an accumulation sideways action, movement up. So I'd like to see some sort of nice movement up, and there is a lot of reasons to believe that we will get that. When you look at the CBBI historically, typically that is showing a low, and typically when you see these lows, then Bitcoin, the bottom end is in, and you have runs for a long time. Even back in, let's see here, back when the price was in that 35-40 range, confidence was still at 31, and even back in July it was 8, and it kind of pumped back up. But now we've been low for a while, okay? We are in a, let's see, if we go to the Trello line that I put on Twitter the other day, we are in that blue fire sale range. If we look here, December 10th, basically a fire sale between 13,392 and 17,821, and you can see all these levels. So if I were to give you a perfect playbook months and months ago of where to buy, it's buy when the CBBI is around 2, is around 3, is around 4, is around 5. When the rainbow chart is blue, when the MVRV Z-score is in the gutter, but we're basically in that fire sale range now, basically in a fire sale. You can see the price is in that dark blue. So even if we were to go lower, we are right there, and just hang in there, continue to hang in there. If we come back here, let's look at the MVRV Z-score. Again here, we were at the bottom of blue for a while. We did some sideways action in the blue. Currently, I mean, when you look into the past, like December, January 2019 at the end of the bear, there was all that blue at the end of the bear. So that's where we're at right now. We just did this. We just did this. And you can see what happens with price moving forward from there typically. And if we look at the net unrealized profits and loss, we're in the dark blue. We're in the capitulation. We're pretty low here. Could it go a little lower? Sure. But we're trying to, we're really hoping that selling pressure is pretty much gone, and that we're going to continue on with this wave structure, even though it's gotten a little uglier and nastier than we thought it was going to be. We're still waiting on a wave 5, and that's when Bitcoin will start to run. It's not just going to go straight up. It's going to take a lot of time. There's going to be a lot of zigzag, 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 zigzag. But that is when Bitcoin will start to steal the show. And I believe there will be little alt seasons within Bitcoin's run. And then there'll be a final alt season after Bitcoin tops out. There'll be that final alt season blow off top for everything. And then that's when you could possibly see that bear market. Just like we've always said, it's just taken way longer to play out. And this correction has just been super massive. Not much of a change overall on my overall thesis, as crazy as that sounds. Held support, held for above 1, and just waiting on that next movement. Wave 5 typically at least as big as wave 1. We should be getting some nice movement at some point here. Just waiting it out here, and we'll see what happens next. Let's just watch the price action and keep watching. I believe that we are going to go. It's just a matter of time before we are going to go back into this orange, darker orange, possibly red, but at least into this orange range. And if it was 2023 here, like if I move over to late 2023 here, late 2023 Bitcoin orange 100 to 130, and I've talked about 130 many times. If you look at dark orange right there, 130 to 170, that's a little more out of the range, but definitely possible. And red would be pretty crazy, 170 to 130, but it will take a little bit of time. But late 2023, it'd be third quarter, fourth quarter, it's definitely still possible, as contrarian as that sounds. So that's going to be it for this video. We'll cover some altcoins more specifically in some specific videos here in the next day or two. That's it for this video, and we will see you in the next video. See ya.